Welcome to the HarvestNet podcast, where we discuss topics such as leadership, ministry, and church planting as we aim to fulfill the Great Commission together through relational connections. HarvestNet International is a global network that exists to network and equip frontline workers for world harvest. It is our hope to see the gospel preached in all nations and to partner with others who share a common goal. We hope that this podcast will encourage, equip, and empower you. For more information on HarvestNet, visit our website at harvestnetinternational.com.
Hi, Barry Wissler here from HarvestNet International. I want to talk to you today. I've entitled this, Just Do It. I know that sounds like a Nike commercial. But I want to talk about living a lifestyle of action rather than just talking. Some of you've probably heard me joke about the fact that pastors and leaders can spend endless hours talking about something. We can take something like our intentions to plant a church or to do something, and we can talk about it actually for years without actually putting anything into action. And some of that's needed and natural, but I want to talk to you about the fact that sometimes we just have to just do it. We have to be a person of action. I think Jesus modeled a life of action. In Luke, in his gospel, he talks about all that Jesus began to do and teach. So even Jesus was more than a teacher, and that we know him from his speeches that he gave, his sermons on the Mount and different places. But Jesus was also a man of action, not just a man of words. He trained leaders. He accomplished an amazing amount of things in his lifetime, ministered to a lot of people, and also trained a team of leaders that really have impacted the world to this day. In Daniel, it says, those who know their God will display strength and take action. So I think knowing God will cause us to take action because God himself is not passive. He's a God of action. He created the world and did many things where he intervened. He even came and took initiative to save us instead of being passive. And it's what it says here is that I believe if we know God a little bit, we'll probably obey a little bit of what he tells us to do. But anybody that knows God deeply will be one who is willing and able to take action. Jesus himself said, if you love me, you will obey my commandments. In other words, we're not just to listen to the Bible and the message, but we are to actually be a doer, not a hearer only. So Christianity is not simply about believing the truth or attending meetings. It's a lifestyle of action. And Jesus commissioned us to take action, even in the world around us, by making disciples, and we are to disciple nations. It's been said that we cannot wait to live. We have to live now. And that's true. Time continues to march on. I mean, as the older I get, the more I realize how fast time moves. And I can't believe I'm 67, almost 68 years old, that my children are in the 40s. I have grandchildren that are now soon to be 9 and 7 years old. So it's amazing how fast time goes. And we have intentions in our hearts, but there are times where we just have to decide we're going to do something. We have to take action, and we have to act now. Life and time is not going to wait for us. And I believe we also have to act when God tells us to. And sometimes we know what we're supposed to do, but we don't do it. We have our variety of excuses, and we procrastinate obeying God or doing what we know we should do. But we can't give our time and our attention to everything else and make God wait. We have to act. I believe a Christian should always be acting and growing and obeying and doing. So like riding a bicycle, you have to keep moving, or you have to, if you stop, you're going to fall over. We have to keep moving and growing. We should be lifelong learners. Cheryl and I went on a trip into the Everglades a number of years ago. The kids were younger, and we rented 2 kayaks, and we wanted to go back through the mangroves, through the water. And we just thought it'd be cool to see it. So we rented the kayaks. We went across the bay till we got to the inlet where you go back in. We had a lunch packed, and we were looking forward to just rowing a while, looking, and then stopping and having a nice lunch. Well, what we didn't realize is that the place was infested with mosquitoes, and we couldn't stop. When we stopped to try to eat something, the mosquitoes just ate us alive. And so we had to keep moving. And life's a little bit like that. Stresses and things come at us, a little bit like mosquitoes, and I think it's better to keep moving. That doesn't mean we don't rest, because we need to rest. God made a Sabbath for us. But I think we should be people of action. So passive people will say, I can't act, or I don't need to act. And sometimes they'll say things like, this is something God has to do, I can't do it. Well, if he's commanded us to do it, then we might need his help. We may need to cry out to him for help, but we must act if he's commanded. And so, if we're passive, we say we can't act, and we'll sit and wait and hope God does something for us. Now, I believe in miracles, but I know that not everything falls out of the sky. I believe that even God sometimes acts when we act. He meets us in our action, because it takes faith and boldness to act, and then God meets us and helps us. It's like the lepers who said, they were sitting by the gate, and they said, why sit we here till we die? Let's go to the enemy's camp and see what God will do for us. These guys decided to act, to change their situation, and they trusted that God will help them, and he did. Our problem sometimes is that we prefer to sit and think rather than act. We'll think things over and over, and actually, sometimes we think our way out of acting. We can wait so long before we act that we don't even want to act anymore. We can think of all kinds of reasons not to act. There's obstacles, we have limitations, we have excuses for this and that. Or eventually we get tired of thinking about that and we find something else exciting to think about, and then we drop the idea entirely. One guy said, maybe the reason you don't feel alive is because you have worn yourself out thinking about things instead of doing them, and the thinking you've just tired yourself and you've actually not acted. I find acting energizing, and I'm a deep thinker. I like to, I will even vacillate when I make decisions, because I'm a data gatherer, and I try to make sure I have all the data, and I will postpone a decision if I feel like I don't have the data. But there comes a time that we just need to choose, and we need to act. We need to make a decision. God can steer us easier if we're moving, and I think it's just not healthy for us to sit and think or talk all the time. There are two rules. One is that we should stop considering whether we should do it. If we know it's God's will, if we know it needs to be done, we shouldn't sit and think if we should do it. And the second one is to stop considering whether we're ready. You remember a lot of people in the Bible, when they were called, they argued with God. This is true. Jeremiah and others gave excuses. Moses did. Jeremiah said, I'm not ready. I'm too young, and I can't speak. And God said, no, don't say you're too young. Don't say you can't speak, because I'll put my words in your mouth, and you will say what I tell you, what I give you to say. And we can't just give excuses. Moses said, well, he's too slow, he can't speak. And the truth is, that was irrelevant. God had called him, and God did help him with that then. But we find our excuses to not obey God. I think even for our mental health, we need to be people of action. I've heard that zoo animals, and I'm not trying to compare you to an animal here, but animals get depressed because they can only sit around. If they're in the zoo, they get depressed. All they can do is sit around and think. They don't have to gather food, and they don't have the opportunity to get excited about chasing their lunch or their dinner. They don't go anywhere. They don't do anything. They just lay around. I'm not sure it's good for us. There's balance in life. Yes, we need to rest. I think some people go too much and need to learn to stop. But then there's the other extreme, is that we can just not act. And I'm not sure that's good for our mental health. I feel most alive when I'm acting, when I'm actually doing something. There's comfort and activity, I believe, can cause depression and anxiety. And we have 3 R's that we practice: rumination, reluctance, and retreat. Rumination, of course, is when you think about something over and over, but with no action. And, I'll wake up in the middle of the night sometimes, and I'm already thinking about something, and it's hard for me to get it out of my head because I'll ruminate, just go back over it. So that's the one problem. The second one is reluctance, and this is where we deal with fear, where we say, I'm not ready, I'm too young, it's not time. We're just reluctant, and so we postpone acting. And the third R is retreat, and this is where failure or something makes us just back up. We give up or we turn away from action. And I do believe that, it helps when we keep moving. And stress can do this. I liken stress to a mosquito, because as soon as you stop moving, it'll find you and it'll feast on you. And whenever you sit idle, stressful thoughts will arrive in swarms. And I believe action is in some ways a repellent against anxiety, to keep the bloodsuckers away, so to speak. Even when things look impossible or difficult, sometimes we just have to take the first step. Maybe it's a daunting plan. The vision is huge and big, but the step in front of you is the most important thing in the world at that point. One step forward. Our biggest opportunities are oftentimes now. They're not way off in the future, but they're right now to act. And even a long-term project, we need to take the first step. So even if things seem insurmountable, the truth is that progress is rarely made in a single bold leap or move, but with many consistent steps. We take one step at a time, and we make progress. The story of the tortoise and the hare. The hare has speed, but the tortoise was just consistent, a little step at a time. He kept his eye on the goal, and he won the race. And I believe by taking small steps, we actually build momentum. We actually encourage ourselves that we're making some progress. A lot of inaction stems from fear. It could be the fear of failure or the fear of the unknown. But we fail to fear that inaction itself will guarantee failure. If we don't act, if we don't start, if we don't take one step, we fail at whatever we're going to do. And I think waiting for the perfect time will cause us to miss opportunities to change or to accomplish something. Small changes over time have a massive impact. You should read the book Atomic Habits, but the guy makes a case for very small incremental changes and something that's done consistently till you develop a new habit. And over time, that can make a huge difference in your life. So I'm going to end by giving you 5 steps. First of all, we need a roadmap for action. We need sort of a general map of what needs to happen. The map keeps us focused, so we avoid distractions and we can track our progress on the map. And the big question is, what is the first step that I can take right now? And, to go from vision to action, it requires overcoming self-doubt and fear, one of the hardest things for us. And we often hold ourselves back waiting for the perfect moment. We want assurance that we won't fail. But honestly, failure is part of the process. At times, failure is not the end. We learn from our failure. Some of the best things that I've learned in life have been through the darkest, most difficult times, and the times when I did not perform well, and the times that I failed. So waiting for ideal circumstances can only delay the process. Don't be afraid of failing. Number 3, we must be consistent. I already mentioned this. We need to be persistent at times. Our progress might seem slow. Obstacles seem insurmountable. But I believe that perseverance really does pay off in the long run. Some people quit too easily. And the power of action is revealed in the moments when we just take a step, keep moving, and not give up. Each day Each decision and effort brings us closer to realizing the vision that we have. Number 4, we all need to build a support system, and I believe this is true for everybody. We should surround ourselves with people who will support our goals and encourage us. Some of us are verbal processors, and we need other people to talk to. But I don't believe anybody achieves great things alone. Even if someone in a solo sport, there's usually coaches or other people that help them to get to the point where they can perform so amazingly. We all need community. We all need people around us to talk things over. And actually, we all need mentors. And I encourage people to have at least one, maybe a couple people that they go to for counsel or advice. And you might have mentors in different areas of your life for different reasons. Something you want to learn how to do, you find somebody that's already done it, somebody that you know can do it or is doing it, and just ask them questions, let them help you. Bottom line, and this is going back to my title, at some point we just need to do it. We need to take a step of action. So I encourage you to tell yourself that 2025, this is the year I'm going to stop talking and I'm going to take action. I'm going to stop thinking and I'm going to take action. I'm not saying you need to act on every idea, but there are things that you know you need to do. Make it a priority, and just do it. Take some action.
Thank you for joining us today. We're so thankful that you took time to listen. If you enjoyed what you heard, please like and subscribe to our channel, and feel free to share this episode with your friends. To learn more or to give to HarvestNet, visit the link in our channel description. Don't forget to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube at HarvestNet International.